Hey gang, don't forget to check out the War for the Tower podcast. It's an actual play RPG podcast based in the world of Stephen King's Dark Tower, and it aims to correct some of his more egregious errors in that series. If you are interested, you can check them out at warforthetower.com or just search for War for the Tower in your podcatcher. Long days and pleasant nights. This is an Unspoiled Network podcast. This is Some Spoiled, a Song of Ice and Fire 2. The co-host Switch-eroo. The rereading. Return to Westeros. HBO. Spoiler edition. Uncut, uncensored, and too hot for TV. In these chapters, which are, 58 and 57, 58?
I think that is correct.
Sansa and Eddard.
Mm-hmm.
Sansa begs for her father's life, and then Varys goes and tells Ned, hey, your daughter just begged for your life. Welcome to Some Spoiled.
Monsters are dangerous, and just now, kings are dying like flies.
I am the king!
Fuck the king.
Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Natasha.
I'm Rashawn.
All right, Rashawn, lay it on me. What did you think about these chapters? Is there, I believe you had said something about a message that you wanted to deliver to the listeners?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that after all.
Oh, okay.
But thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Everybody's on the edge of their seat now, wondering what it was.
It's fine.
I know.
Stop being garbage is my message.
Yeah, that's really it. Honestly, I know what the message was, guys, and that's like the heart of it. So
yeah, it's pretty much.
She's not lying.
In summary, I'll tell you what. This Eddard chapter, where he is lying in the dark in excruciating pain, basically just reliving all of his life's failures, ruining practically every decision he's made. I felt that shit in my spirit.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So, that shit was timely. But in seriousness, this is so hard to read because we know that this is not going to work out. Mm-hmm. And watching Sansa believe in her heart that she is dealing with good and honorable people is
tragic.
It is absolutely tragic. It is, obviously there's a lot of, just being naive, being a child, and okay, we're all grown. We all know better. You kind of like look at her and you're just like,
Yeah.
Why would you think these people are anything? But she earnestly believes it. She has made herself believe these things. And given the alternative, which is, the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you choose to believe in this,
Yeah.
As opposed to facing the reality, which is bleak.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was just, these were two short, but I thought really sad chapters.
Agreed.
And, fucking, you guys, I can't with Ned Stark. Like, laying in the dark for, he doesn't even know how many days it's been. He's like, you know, blasting himself for his choices. He has this weird, like, crazy dream about Robert. Mm-hmm. And then when Varys comes to see him, he just gets right back on his Stark shit.
He just, it's like, yeah, I wanted to be here. I'm proud to be here. I paid rent to be here. Dude.
What is happening?
What are you doing?
It is like such a case of people just being who the fuck they are. Mm-hmm. You know? And even when they tell themselves secretly in their head how they wish that they were different or had done different, mm-hmm. we just be doing the same damn shit.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So let's talk about fucking Sansa. Sansa comes down to the throne room. First thing that we hear is that she's had guards put on her, and Cersei tries to spin that shit like, it's because we love you so much and we just don't want anything to happen to you.
She calls them honor guards. Mm-hmm. What? Yeah. Is it like, is an honor to be guarded, or they're guarding your honor?
I think it's meant to be like, it's an honor to be guarded. Like, you are so important to us.
Okay.
That we will, like, give you men, that kind of thing, to guard you. Because that's, like, how precious you are.
Right.
But really, even Sansa's like, this doesn't feel like an honor, though. And I'm like, sweetie, it's not. I love you. Yeah. What are you doing? It's weird because she can sense that it's not. But she can't put her finger on, like, what is wrong here exactly. Even she goes into the throne room and nobody wants to make eye contact with her. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And she can't figure that one out either, you know? And I'm just like, it just feels like she's not a stupid person, but her naivety can be mistaken for stupidity, which is that's such a thing.
Yeah, it's a fine line. Mm-hmm. I think the only, like, the real distinction between the two is, like, you know, whether one is being willful and the other one is just sort of, like, you know,
yeah,
not your fault, just like a lack of experience. Mm-hmm. She is completely alone and surrounded by snakes.
Yes, correct.
Just, you know, everyone has an agenda. Practically everyone has more power than she has. Mm-hmm. There are alliances happening and double crosses happening. She is unaware of it all.
Yeah.
And it's just, she's like a fucking, what is that? Like a babe in the woods kind of deal, you know? And it is, it's incredible that, like, at least according to the show, that she makes it out of all this, right? Like, when you remember how this story starts for her, mm-hmm. that she is one of the few that survives this book, the series, like, I need y'all to put a little bit of respect on her name, is all I'm saying. But, she mentions how the throne room is, like, really different now that
they stripped all of Robert's favorite shit off the walls. Like, I fucking love that detail that, like, the minute he's dead, mm-hmm, Cersei is like, get rid of that wagon wheel coffee table. Nobody liked it. And just the whole, like, one of the first things that gets announced is the fact that Cersei's going to be advising Joffrey.
Yeah, yeah.
And everybody kind of has, like, a mumble about it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And, you know, she's positioning herself. It is shameless, but also, who needs shame when you are the king's mother? So
basically, she just, like, plops her ass down at that council seat, you know, in full view of everyone, mm-hmm. and it's just, like, daring anyone to say something about it.
Yep, 100%.
This is also, there's like a lot of like, you know, courtly business happening.
Yes.
And
it's not courtly in the good way.
Yeah.
That makes it sound like, oh yes, everybody's being extremely genteel. No, we just mean it's a fucking admin meeting.
People are getting fired.
We're getting a cabinet together and figuring out who's fired. And
oh my God, they fire, what is his name?
Barristan Selmy.
Thank you. And
they fire him in the most ruthless,
listen,
humiliating.
They try to tell him to just go live out your days. Like he's like just so old and, you know, can't be trusted to protect the new king. And they need, you know, but you've served us so well. And he's like, retire? Retire?
Yeah.
This is not like you don't retire from this fucking job. And they offer him like a nice little place, you know, some coins, and he is not having any of that.
Nope.
And he insults everyone there, calls the king boy.
Ooh.
He
called me boy. He called me boy.
He's so salty about it.
I love how bad Joff gets.
But yeah, and then he I love there's a line, something like he takes the long way out.
Yeah. Yep. I like to think that he makes fucking eye contact with every person he walks past, too.
You know he does. And he says something like he could take all 5 of the Kingsguard that are there. Mm-hmm. So like they can try it if they want to.
I love it.
It's really pretty fantastic.
I really like, it's a misstep, in my opinion, for them to do this in front of everybody. Y'all could have taken him aside and warned him this was what was coming and that there was going to be nothing to be done about it. And then you have this moment in front of everybody where he already knows and has already become resigned to it. But instead, they just spring it on him in front of a crowd.
It's
Nobody's going to react well to that, you know?
And you know what the thing is, too, is I don't know if I understand if there was anything inherently political about this move. Because he's served a bunch of different kings. It's not like he's particularly loyal to Robert and would be a threat, you know, to Joffrey. He, as far as I understand this early in the book, is fairly honorable and would have, you know, done his duty just the way he always had. So Cersei makes a kind of a bit of a show about how like they need somebody younger and more, you know, capable, robust. But is there anything else going on with this? Because this seems like a needless, like, why make an enemy of him? It just seems like a weird choice, not a very smart choice.
Because she wants Jaime to have the fancy job?
Really?
I really feel like that's all it is.
Yikes. But Jaime is busy right now, fighting some wars. He's not even supposed to be fighting because he's a fucking Kingsguard, but that's a different fucking story, I guess, right? Aren't the Kingsguard supposed to be like guarding the king?
Yeah,
not out fighting his father's wars?
I think the fact that Tyrion was taken specifically is meant to be like reasoning for him. But in my opinion, once you swear yourself to the Kingsguard, you're meant to not have family anymore.
Exactly.
Like, that's part of the whole thing.
Part of the fucking thing. So this just, I mean, Jaime is terrible at his job.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's absolutely true.
He's like not a good guard
just
of the king.
Just take terrible at his job off that sentence. Just terrible. Jaime's terrible.
I mean, he killed the other one, which I know we're supposed to think is like some noble thing or whatever. But you took a job. And now you're out in the streets fighting when Tywin has plenty of men and is out, you know, commanding his army himself.
I think you forgot about how he's covering himself in glory. I'm sorry. I had to bring it back. I had to do it.
I hate that so much. I really dislike that phrase.
I do not blame you.
It is upsetting to me. I don't like it. And also, it might just be my brain, but there's something vaguely sexual about it that I can't quite put my finger on.
I mean, is it the part where I said that he got some glory in his eye? Is that real sexual? I think it might just be some association based on a previous conversation that happened.
That might be. Because I had tried to block that out.
Yeah.
But there you go. Bringing it back.
I'm sorry.
You're not sorry. Okay. So, enough Jamie shade for right now. We'll shade him later. So, there's also, like, a long-ass list of people that the king thinks needs to come and either, like, swear fealty or they're all going to be traitors. Mm-hmm. And they're reading this long list, and it's a lot of people. Yeah. It's some people that I was surprised was on here. And it might just be because there's so many characters, I don't remember exactly who everyone is. Lord Royce, he is on this list.
Yeah, do you remember meeting Royce's son? Royce's son is the one in the prologue who is the arrogant lordling who goes beyond the wall. He's part of the Night's Watch.
Right.
And he has a sable cloak as soft as sin.
Right.
Which is one of my favorite lines.
Wait, maybe I don't... Why are they traitors?
They're not traitors. These are just people that are meant to come down to, like, give fealty.
Okay. So they want to hear from him, the Baratheons, the Tyrells, Thoros and Barrack, Lysa, basically everybody. Everybody needs to come down to King's Landing and say, that Joffrey is their king.
Correct.
And then he names the rest of the Stark family.
Including Arya.
Exactly. And that's when Sansa realizes that she has gotten away.
Yeah.
And then incorrectly assumes that she's probably home safe by now. Which is not true.
Oh, Sansa. Ever the optimist.
And we haven't seen Arya in a couple chapters now, but, she's still somewhere in King's Landing. So that is also, like, Sansa has the run of the castle, but she can't, like, leave the Red Keep. So, and then we know Arya is somewhere out there in the streets, but, like, can't get back to the castle. Mm-hmm. And it's so weird that they're both still, like, so close to each other, knowing that they're about to be separated for, like, years.
Yeah.
And hundreds of miles and everything.
Yeah.
But for right now, they're still both trapped in King's Landing. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of quips happening from Baelish. He's
fucking Baelish.
He's very quippy.
Oh my god, he's so smug. He is so happy with himself. And, like, honestly, dude, why? What have you accomplished? What have you personally done that makes you feel like you are so much better than everybody else? There's even a mention later on that Varys makes to when he's telling Ned about how he handles people, and he's like, oh yeah, he totally thinks that, like, I'm his because I give him information. I don't give him all the information. I don't give him even most of the information. But he's so fucking, like, certain of the fact that he's got me, and it's adorable. And I was like, oh, Varys, I love you so much sometimes.
Yeah, it's Varys. That whole bit with him is really interesting because he does this thing in that same bit when he's talking about Baelish where he says straight up, like, Baelish thinks that I'm his, just like Cersei thinks that I'm hers. Everyone I talk to while I'm speaking to them thinks that I am theirs.
Yeah.
which is a hell of a trait. That's some real useful shit.
And Ned is like, oh, like you're pretending to be mine right now. And I'm like, no, Ned, you idiot. He's telling you how he plays people. Obviously, he wouldn't tell that to somebody that he's playing. Mm-hmm. You jag.
And it's funny because even if he is playing Ned, right? Mm-hmm. And it's, I think that, I don't know if that's debatable or not. Like, this moment, we know that he is reporting to Ned accurate information, right? But Ned doesn't know that for sure. But he's giving you information that you didn't have when no one else is giving you anything. Right. So, maybe take that. And also maybe, like, lose a little bit of the attitude. But that, I guess he can be snippy. He's, his leg hurts.
I just want him to, like, use his head about what people would tell you if they were doing XYZ. He gets suspicious about the wrong thing. Like, no, I'm not telling you to trust Varys. I'm telling you to look at the fact that he's chosen to give you this at all, which he doesn't have to do, and then put together what the fuck he's probably actually doing. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
He's so bad at this.
Like, you don't come down to visit a dead man and offer him a way out. That is, granted, not even... It's not like Varys is like, hey, I got a way that you can get out of this and retain your title and go home and live happily after. He's like, here's a way that you might be able to, like, not die.
Right.
So, for Ned to be that suspicious, like, how could this be turned against me? What?
Right.
Everything is already turned against you. Why would Varys need to go out of his way to, like, further turn it against you?
You are literally being kept in a dungeon that doesn't even have a window and starved. Sir. And he's like, she wouldn't kill me. She's starving you. Why are you? Because she wants Tyrion in exchange. Oh my god.
Could you, I'm imagining his face when Varys is like, Ashley, no, your wife lost him.
He's probably dead somewhere else by now. Your intel's bad.
He had to pick his face up off the floor.
I am disgusted.
But we keep jumping ahead to that next chapter,
we do. Okay, so Sansa.
I mean... So, they make the Hound
yeah.
His, it's not like she gives him like a new title, right?
I'm trying to find the spot here because, like, there's a bunch of things. First, there's the Slint, Janos Slint thing.
Yeah, he gets, Harrenhal and a title and some land.
And a lot of people feel the way about that because classism.
Yeah.
I'm not mad about it, though, because Slint seems like a real piece of shit. So, as much as I'm like, everybody just get your panties out of a bunch, I'm also like, yeah, he sucks.
What does it say about his sons? Wait, I'm sorry.
Proud lords whose houses went back thousands of years made way reluctantly for the balding, frog-faced commoner as he marched past. 2 ugly boys who must have been his sons went before him.
It's just like drive-by slander.
Oh, are these pieces of ugly shit your kids? They must be.
They
like
don't
father,
even
like
have
son.
They don't even have names.
Yup.
So I always appreciate that shit. And then let's see where we go. They tell Barristan that he can go.
He
is
like
"Fuck
strips
y'all."
in front of everybody to like take his uniform off, which he thinks is going to be a moment of like his dignity. And I'm like, why would you think that? Literally picturing somebody without their clothes on is a means of coping with anxiety because it makes them seem less impressive. So, sir, I'm going to need you to stay dressed. But no, he just strips, and then, of course, fucking Pitire decides to make a joke about it, and he gets all red in the face and leaves. And he pulls his sword, and they like start to come at him, and he's like, "Oh, please, get out of here! You couldn't do shit, even if I was attacking him, which I'm not because I'm not a fucking moron."
He also, when she announces that Jaime's going to take his job as Lord Commander, he says the Kingslayer, which you're not supposed to say in like polite company.
I love it. He doesn't give a fuck anymore. This is him just being told that he's getting fired when he knows that his boss is fucking his secretary. And he's just like, oh, really? You need more time to get your dick wet so you can't deal with me? I get it. This is just so like, I feel so bad for him though, because it's just so embarrassing. He's supposed to serve until he dies.
Yeah, this is just, it's needlessly cruel. The humiliation, which again we talked about, but it's so unnecessary, which is why I was wondering if there was any kind of weird political motivation, because this is just done so poorly. But maybe they have Cersei, because I don't, Joffrey doesn't fucking have two fucking brain cells rubbed together, but this feels like a real misstep on Cersei's part, you know, and just really short-sighted. I'm not even going to try to think back about the show, but I know he showed up later. All
right, then.
Fuck. I think he ends up... Is it Daenerys he ends up with? I think he ends up with Daenerys, like, later on in the show. Don't know if that's what after they're, like, off the books, though, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, my point just being... This is like their first day on the job, Cersei and Joffrey. Like, the first official day. And... I don't know if this is a smart choice. And I'm just going to put that out there. I just feel like, you know, maybe this is not a man that you want to make an enemy of. I'm just saying.
Maybe. And
then Varys is trying to, like, you know, calm things down because things are getting heated. And Selmy is like, fuck that. I'm going to stay heated.
Indeed.
And then, you know, he throws his sword, calls him a boy, tells him that he could melt the sword with the rest of them, and saunters out.
Saunters. Indeed he do.
After everything is quiet and we're about to wrap up for the day, Sansa realizes that if she is going to do anything, it has to be now. And she kind of speaks up that she has some business. And she's got on her beautiful dress that Arya had ruined.
Yeah.
She has got it dyed black, so she's in mourning. And she made sure to make herself as beautiful as she could. Which
unfortunately is probably a good tactic.
Probably, right? And she, you know, is just as demure and sweet and pleading. And she begs for them to show her father mercy.
Yep.
And it gets really weird for a second because Cersei is just like, oh dear. I thought that you knew better than that. And Pycelle, who is turning out to be a real piece of shit. I meant to mention that earlier. He is just like traitor blood. Sir, he is practically saying they should kill her along with Ned.
He is like, he's the kind of person who would burn witches, like 100%. I hate this dude.
Yeah.
He's got, like, learning, and that's as much as can be said for the, like, his mental capacity, because he doesn't fucking have the common sense of a...
It's awful.
Thing with common sense. I don't know. I couldn't think of a thing.
And, so Pycelle is talking about, you know, Traitor's blood, and Varys is, you know, kind of being like, you know, well, she's just a child. She doesn't know what she's asking. And Sansa's hearing all this, but she's fixated on, I'm just going to stare at Joffrey.
Yeah.
Like, the rest of these motherfuckers don't exist. I'm going to stare at him, make him look in my eyes, and I know he'll hear me. Mm-hmm. And, there's still some murmuring about how you got to root out the weed and all this other shit. But they end up saying, I can't believe Pycelle. He's still going. Treason is treason. Anyway. Because the thing is they all know he didn't do it. Right?
That's true.
So this performance that they're all giving.
I forget that they all know. Oh my God.
It is so horrible when you think about it that way, you know? Mm-hmm. Everybody except maybe Joffrey knows that Ned did not do that shit. And they're just tisking and talking to, you know, despicable. Fucking despicable. But they say, if you can get him to confess his crimes and pledge loyalty to the king, then they don't promise anything. They just say...
Well, Joffrey says that he will do as she asks, is what he says. So he kind of promises.
Yeah, he says, your sweet words have moved me, nodding as if to say all would be well. Yeah, I shall do as you ask, but first your father has to confess.
Right.
Okay, so we've determined that that's a lie.
The detector determined that
fucking
was a lie.
Maury Povich. Gotta love that. But so she is feeling relieved and low-key vindicated, because for her, this is proof that Joffrey is as good as she believes, you know, and loves her. Mm-hmm. And then we go to the Ned chapter. And it's just a mess.
It's a mess. So it starts off with the straw on the floor stank of urine.
And it's all downhill from there. I was drinking and almost missed that. I was drinking my water and I almost missed that opportunity.
Oh, I just like that could really be a postcard. I'm gonna have to think that one over. But yeah, the straw on the floor stank of urine. There was no window, no bed, not even a slop bucket. And I was like, slop? What does that mean? And then I was like, oh, my bad. Yeah, that sucks.
And now we know why there's straw on the floor stank of urine. And other things.
I can't imagine having to lay down and sleep on the same floor that I just pissed and shit on.
Listen.
I can't.
It's wild to me because, you know, we have people in those very same conditions right in our own little country.
Oh, we sure do.
You know? Mm-hmm. Commentary.
Oh, God, what are we?
I don't know, girl.
And I didn't realize that he was put into what I think is called the black cells, which means some place that doesn't even have windows. Basically, right, he's blind.
This is like, I think he talks about which king it was that built those. Does he talk about that here? Did I imagine that?
I don't remember. He remembered the old stories about Maegor the Cruel, who murdered all the masons who labored on his castle so they might never reveal its secrets. There it is.
Yeah. Yep. So he has this thing. He remembers this thing about Robert, and where Robert says, "The king eats and the hand takes the shit," which was really, Robert, what are you doing?
I love that Robert's just he's so unconscious of like trying to sell his friend on this position. You know, that's like me trying to get you to host something and I'm being like, the show is really bad. You're going to fucking hate it. I can't wait to see how much you hate the show we're going to talk about every day or every week for like several hours. Why would you do that?
For the next 4 years of your life.
Yeah, like, oh my God.
So Ned is rethinking this moment and he's just like, oh, he's wrong. The king dies and the hand is buried.
It's a pretty good line.
It is. That's why I brought it up.
For a second, I wanted to be like, stop being so damn dramatic. And then I was like, no.
Listen.
No.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So he is, like we said, just thinking that he has just made a lot of missteps. Mm-hmm. And he is kind of doing that thing we do, where you relive these moments. He's like fucking George Costanza in Jerk Store.
Oh my God.
Like, he just wishes he could
It's
go
out of
back.
you! What does that guy say in response to that line that like winds up shutting him down yet again?
It's okay, because you're their all-time bestseller. Yeah, well, I had sex with your wife. Guys, I know that Seinfeld is awful, but I fucking love that show. I just do. I can't help it. I
When
know
you
he's
say
a giant
Seinfeld,
douche.
oh, you're talking about
the
the
person.
man. Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld is a giant douchebag.
Oh my God, he sucks.
He sucks. But I fucking love that show. I can't help it. I just do.
I mean, it's a classic for a reason.
It fucking cracks me up like I've never seen it before. I will laugh my ass off at a Seinfeld episode like I have not seen it 100 fucking times. It's a real problem for me. But
God, I get so mad. I remember hearing about this like video he did. Remember when cronuts were a thing?
Vaguely. Are you saying they're not a thing anymore?
I'm saying, yeah, pretty much. Food has trends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's just, like, times where it's like, oh, yeah, everything's about pies. And then the next time you look, it's like, pies? Nobody has had pie for 2 years. Like,
you are so right, because for a while, everything was about cupcakes.
Yep.
Oh, my God, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about cronuts?
Like, in the 80s, it was all about pesto and brie. Were like the two things. Everybody fucking loved brie. Brie sucks. Just FYI. Brie mostly sucks.
It does.
It's like this flavorless paste. Shut up. But I know I'm going to get so many people yelling at me about how they like brie. Save it. And then in the 90s, like the early 90s, it was wasabi everything. Do you remember that?
I do, because I am not a fan.
Same. And it was in everything. And I was just like, can we not? It's not even like, oh, it's too hot for you. It's not. I can deal with hot. But when something's fucking airing my sinuses out, like I just did a neti pot, and I'm at a table with people trying to have a meal, that's not the fucking experience I'm looking for here. You know what I'm saying?
That was so crazy accurate and descriptive. Oh my God. But you are 100% right.
I just get mad at some food trends. It's just they're trying to like do too much. And it's like, who is this for? Who do you really think is enjoying this thing? I don't even think you're enjoying it. That's how little I buy this. I think that you're saying this shit because it's like either elitism, because it's like something that's hard to find, and you're just like, oh yeah, so you never heard of wasabi? Or it's like
sriracha.
Oh, sriracha was.
Remember when
I was going to say that and bacon.
wait, bacon?
Bacon went through a thing where it was like, we're going to put bacon in literally everything because bacon makes everything better. No, it doesn't.
I can't get on board with this bacon. I can't.
What, with bacon in general?
With this the way you're being disrespectful. I can't co-sign it. I'm sorry.
Look, I love bacon. I have bacon. I have 2 packages of bacon in my refrigerator right now. I have many.
Bitch,
I have
so
many
do I.
bacon friends. I am the least anti-bacon person you've ever met. But
some of my best friends are bacon.
But you cannot be like, here's a chocolate bar. We put bacon in it. I'm sorry. I've tried it. It is not good. It's just not good. It's not good.
Wait, are you saying that there's chocolate bars with bacon in it?
Oh my God. How have you missed this trend?
I thought you were being facetious.
I feel like you just started breathing heavy. Are you all right? Did I just arouse you too much?
I leaned real in close to the mic. I was not aware we were putting bacon in chocolate bars.
Did you say there's chocolate bars with bacon in it?
Who is doing that?
Oh, fuck.
Where do I find it?
You just Google chocolate bacon or bacon.
Wait, hang
chocolate
on.
covered bacon.
What is that? What cronuts?
Okay. Thank you for bringing me back to the thing that I was originally saying. I completely lost my mind. I got so sidetracked by my rage on food trends. Didn't we do like an unsober about food trends too? I should have gotten this out of my system.
I probably. God knows.
Right. Anyway, so the cronuts thing, it was this, I don't know if it was just like a baker or somebody who owned a restaurant or something, but they came up with this like recipe that took a ton of tries for them to get right, which was basically a laminated dough, like a croissant that puffs and flakes, that you could deep fry. And so it would like expand the way that a croissant would without just sinking to the bottom of the fucking hot fat like what actually happened when they tried it the first like 200 times. And these became this like rage in New York City, and she wouldn't share like the recipe for it so nobody else could figure out how to make them. And Jerry Seinfeld did this video where he like had his assistant go and get cronuts for him and his fucking shit family, and sat in like on the like balcony of his like Fifth Avenue apartment overlooking the park, laughing as he ate the cronut that his assistant went and got, and was like, I mean, it's fine. People are waiting in line for this. And it was just one of those moments of like, dude, what fucking planet are you on? Where he's just like, yeah, I mean, it's good, but like, ugh. You had a servant run along to the fucking bakery. I bet they didn't even have to wait in line. They were like, it's for Mr. Seinfeld, and they just got fucking brought in the back door and given the most perfect batch of fucking cronuts they had because they were like, well, he's gonna talk about it. And then he got on his shit and was like, it's fine. My pastry chef makes me fresh croissants every morning. Get fucked.
That is the most succinct and accurate description of everything that is wrong with it.
He's just like, I have this thing where I'm starting to think that like once stand-up comedians or comedians in general, but that's less true, but stand-up comedians I feel like particularly, once they get really rich, they're not funny anymore.
That's usually very true. Well, no, I can't say that. I can't say that's true. I will say, really unfortunate. You know what? We have gotten way off topic. Let's just.
It's fine. No. Tell me. I want to know.
A really upsetting trend that you see with comedians, in my opinion, is as they get older, they get really delicate about their art.
Yeah.
You know, this idea that comedians, nobody loves a comedian like a comedian. And it is the biggest circle jerk you will ever see.
Yeah.
If you get a bunch of comedians together talking about comedy. They get all very like, you know, nobody understands us and we're the truth tellers and, you know, there can't be any limits on what we say and, you know, all that kind of like nonsense. And to me, that is like worse than not being funny anymore. That's just like being a shitty person.
Yes, for sure.
Because, you know, it's horrible. I'm not going to like say a bunch of names because you guys all know pretty much who the type of comedian that I'm referring to. But even the ones that I don't really appreciate what they have to say outside of their stand-up routine anymore. Like, Jerry Seinfeld is just fucking funny. He just is. He's still fucking funny. He's a jackass. But he's just naturally funny. Same with Dave Chappelle is still really funny. I have no use for his stand-up anymore. But, like, if you see him in an interview where he's just, like, bullshitting and talking, he's gonna fucking crack you up. He's just fucking funny. Eddie Murphy, still fucking funny.
What has he been doing?
Girl, Coming to America just came out. What are you talking about?
Right, because I've been boycotting Amazon, so I didn't watch it. Rashawn just got real fucking quiet. All right.
It's not very good.
Oh, no.
I said it.
Oh, that's
Black
too
people
bad.
gonna be so mad at me. You know what? It's hard to be good because Coming to America, even though it's got a lot of problems, and you know some jokes obviously don't age well. That movie is so fucking funny.
I haven't watched it, and I don't think I haven't watched it in so long, and I don't think Owen's ever seen it. And I gotta get him to watch that movie.
I don't know if he would think it was funny because it's really like, you know, there's some stuff in it that is just like, ugh, that is like really not great.
Yeah,
that was a different time, and we probably should never have thought that was funny. But good Lord, there's some shit that I still quote all the time. I can't help myself. I will text Steve for no reason. It's a damn shame what they did to that dog. And he will know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, God.
But anyway, back to this terrible chapter.
Okay, so, God damn, I can't believe that whole fucking tangent from just a mention of Jerry Seinfeld, and I just went off on food trends, and then I went off on him specifically, and then I was like, once they're rich, they're not funny. I just really just
all because I said fucking jerk store. That's how it started.
Ugh. I have a lot to say. It's no wonder that I can do a whole hour by myself and still be overtime on a 20-minute episode. I was talking about Fleabag. It's a 21-minute long episode, or 24 minutes. I was over time, Rashawn, by like 7 minutes.
You know what's funny? Oh, I can't say it because this is a fuck. I have to text it to you.
Is it a spoiler?
No. Ooh. But I'm talking shit about somebody in my family, and I probably shouldn't do that on record.
Oh, that's so much better than what I thought.
But you and I had a conversation about how chatty somebody is. And now you're talking about how you can talk for over an hour, 20 minutes.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Pot kettle. Okay, so he calls himself a fool, thrice damned blind fool. But then
he's so dramatic.
When it's fucking time for him to like maybe not act a fool, he's like, I vote for fool again.
What is the fancy way to say 4 times? like thrice.
I don't know.
Nah, I don't like it.
Quintet times. Quince.
Quince. Oh my God. We have. What happened to this episode?
Jesus Christ.
Remember the time that guy wrote in the review that we just cackled all the time? And this is the kind of shit he was talking about.
When the criticism's correct. The Natasha Winter story. Let's see.
Oh, God.
The thought of Kat was as painful as a bed of nettles. He wondered where she was and what she was doing. He wondered whether he would ever see her again. He won't.
Yeah.
He starts to feel feverish.
Before, real quick, I want to just mention that as he's having these sort of flashbacks about the moments where he fucked up, he has this picture of Cersei and the quote that, you know, when you play the game, you win or you die. And he says and then he thinks about his daughters, and it says his grief and his rage froze hard inside of him. Basically, like, he would have wept, but he couldn't. Because even in this lowest moment, he's still a Stark.
Yeah.
And that little bit was just, I really felt that. Like, even in the darkness where no one would see him, no one would know, you know? And he still couldn't feel those emotions, or at least express them. Yeah, it says a lot of just about who he is. Like, that's, you know, I don't know. I just thought that was particularly powerful.
Yeah. Again, you win or you die, but let me die. He had lost. Like, you don't. It doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's so. It's not fair to call him out of. I mean, he's out of the loop, but like he's also like literally like in a dungeon. But he is still thinking that people are going to be riding to his rescue. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Right? He thinks that the Veil is going to come. He thinks that Stannis is going to come. And he has no idea that these people are not coming to save him.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Rob is trying to do a little something. But like, all the rest of this shit, these people are not coming to save him.
Yeah.
And it's just like, goddamn, his estimation of people doing the right thing.
He's like a Sansa right now.
Oh man, like kind of right. Yeah, like it just doesn't occur to him that people would maybe not do the right thing.
Yeah,
like they might look and go, you know what? I would really rather not. Or I'll ride on fucking, you know, King's Landing, but it's going to be in service of my own shit. Because, like, I want to be king, not because I'm fucking coming to rescue Ned Stark.
Yeah.
So it's just like, really, he doesn't understand people.
No. This is something that I personally also struggle with, because, like, it's weird. I used to be a really good liar, and I sort of just reached a point in my life where I was like, I don't want to put energy into that. Like, lying just takes a lot of energy. You know, you need to, like, emotionally make yourself feel something to be believed. You need to keep the lies straight in your head, because inevitably there will be more than one to keep track of once you start.
Oh, that's true.
And it's just a lot that, like, it's too much. But even though I know that I used to personally be a good liar, it still blows my mind that people lie. That they'll just straight up lie. I am still not quite able to just be like, when somebody's like, well, how could they do such and such? They said they wouldn't. They lied. And I'm like, did they? Or did they really think they were going to do it and they couldn't quite manage to do it? Maybe they wanted to do it and it wasn't, like things happen. I will come up with every reason why it wasn't actually a lie. So I can kind of relate to him just being like, well, obviously they're my family. This is what you're meant to do to like defend. Like, of course they're going to do the thing.
I'm the same way when it comes to certain things. Like, whenever I find out somebody, supposedly, got fired for stealing, at any job I've ever had, I'm always like, what? Kim? Nah, she would never. Get out. Yep. And then, 6 months later, I'll bump into Kim, and she'll be like, yeah, I stole all kinds of shit. And I'll just be like, wait, what?
And I do it again.
But yeah, I'm always just like, wait, no.
Yeah.
No. What? No. Yeah. And it's not necessary. I guess maybe it's being gullible. I don't think that's the right word, though.
I've read that people who are more honest have a harder time believing people are being dishonest. So that's why they have you take those quizzes when you get hired at shitty jobs where they're like, do you think that more people would steal if they could get away with it? That's a trick question where they're trying to see if you would steal more if you could get away with it. And they're framing it like they're trying to get what you think about people. But no, that's a reflection on who you are, and they're just tricking you into telling on yourself. So.
And that, kids, is why I could never get a job at Walmart.
Walmart's like, what would you say to this customer? Go fuck yourself is not an option. I wrote in my answer.
So he is, he's having this weird dream too when he starts to get feverish, which is where you were heading before I interrupted. Oh my God. What is this, you stiff-necked fool? Can you eat pride?
Oh, I love that so much. And that doesn't sink in either.
Nope.
I mean, fuck's sake, Ned. What has to happen? Oh, he stresses me out.
So he is, somebody comes and gives him some water, and,
no food, though.
No food, and he tries to ask questions. This guard is not interested, doesn't answer anything. He tries to at least ask about the kids, his daughters, doesn't get an answer, and he starts having these weird, dreams, flashbacks, and he remembers the tournament where Rhaegar lays the wreath that he wins at Lyanna's lap instead of his wife. He walked past his wife and gave some other bitch her flowers. Listen, I wish Stephen would. That's not going to go well for anybody.
That is some disrespect on a level that I can't fathom.
And as far as I can tell, what's his wife's name? She walks past behind Ruby Road.
Afterward.
Elia?
I'm trying to find it. I can't remember how it's spelled.
It's Elia.
Elia. That's what it is.
Elia. Yeah. Okay. From what I can tell, she just sits there and takes this shit because I guess that's what you're supposed to do. Like, you don't want to make a scene. I'm a scene maker. Just, in case anybody was wondering. So, and he goes from this memory to the Promise Me. And I suppose if I didn't already know about all this, this is when I would start wondering about some things.
Right, yeah.
This
is part of, there was, this whole, theory thing happening in the fandom before the show came out. And in my opinion, it was just such a foregone conclusion. I was like, obviously, that's what's happening here. Like, come on, guys.
I remember when I first started watching the show, and I would visit wikis and all kinds of shit, right, trying to figure out like what was going on and who these characters were. And I stumbled upon because it was written like, tell me again, R plus L.
R plus L equals J.
Right. And it was like, I couldn't figure out like why people were writing it like that. And I was like, are they trying to like keep us unspoiled? But that didn't really exist yet, because this is just all within the wikis and the blogs and everything. So then I was like, is it just shorthand? Because like, why won't you just say the names? Just say the names.
I think it really was just shorthand by then. It was just like an easier way to be like, this is the theory we're talking about, rather than being like the Rhaegar and Lyanna theory. It was just easier. R plus L equals J, you know? It's like when you talk about Snape being in love with Lily, and instead of saying, you know how Snape was in love with Lily, you say, you know, about the always thing in Harry Potter.
Oh, do people do that? I mean, yeah, I guess you're right. People do that. I don't do that.
Oh.
But people do that.
You just were so disdainful, my goodness.
Because that motherfucker was not in love with her.
No, he was not. Hard agree.
That's a different podcast.
Listen to Harry Potter for more. For more tangents about Jerry Seinfeld. There probably are. There's probably some.
There are, because I really do love Seinfeld. So he gets another someone is coming in, and he thinks it's
Come back to your mic.
Oh, he thinks it's the water jug guy, but it's not.
It's not.
It's Varys.
Varys dressed like a water jug guy.
And he doesn't know if he's dreaming or not. Like, he's been so isolated and is going, you know, he's like, are you even real?
He doesn't know what day it is and shit, which, like, that's one of those things that it sounds like it's not really a big deal, but, God, that eats away at you. Everybody who's lived through this pandemic knows. That shit, like, just fucks you up when you realize all of your concepts of time have no meaning anymore.
Where they are holding him is clearly not just about keeping someone. It is about making the experience the most dreadful thing ever.
Yeah.
You know? So it is just, what do you call it? Like adding insult to injury, I think is the expression. So that Chris Test doesn't have to text me.
What was the one? Chaps your ass?
Yeah.
That's the one that you couldn't get.
I was like so close, but just not close enough. And Varys brings him wine instead of water?
Instead of fucking food.
Or food. Excellent point.
Like, guy, he's fucking starving. What are you doing? I don't know what he's doing. What is he doing? What do you think? What's his goal here?
Varys?
Yeah, like, to give him wine when he hasn't eaten in, like, God knows how long. That feels like that's tactical.
I'm wondering if maybe, because he's, you know, he's all in his disguise, maybe there wasn't a way to sneak food in. Though we've seen the robes. Oh, he's probably not in his robes. He's probably in whatever these guys wear. Yeah. Maybe the jug was easier and fit with what he was doing.
Maybe.
But
I guess.
I'm out here trying to make Varys look good. What am I doing? So, and then, if I'm reading this right, because Ned takes a big drink and then he's like, dregs. So he didn't even bring him like a lot of wine or good wine.
Nope.
He just brought him like swill.
And Ned, at first he doesn't even want to drink it. He's like, oh, you're fucking poisoning me like you poisoned Robert. And I'm just blown away. Like, look, granted, I'm coming at this from the point of view of somebody who has read this before, But thinking that Varys was responsible for Robert's death at this point is just so... Oh, Ned.
Yeah, it's a I don't... All right, let me be fair. You think Ned thinking that Varys had something to do with killing Robert is... I mean, we know that he's wrong, but is once again Ned like just not being a good judge?
Yeah. I just feel like if he has been paying attention, Varys doesn't work for Cersei. And Cersei is clearly the one who wanted Robert dead. In my opinion. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, I think
it just doesn't work to me.
I think what I'm struggling with is I'm going over in my head now the interactions that Ned had with Varys, and trying to think what they talked about and what Ned is basing his opinion on, because a lot of it I think is Ned, if I'm not mistaken, thinks that what Varys does is dishonorable, and doesn't have any respect for that particular office, the whispering, and all that shit, the spying. Right. So I thought that Ned, I don't know if dislikes is the right word, but he doesn't respect Varys because of what he does. He thinks there's no honor in it. Mm-hmm. So he's just sort of assuming that Varys would do something like kill Robert or like be a part of it. And it's not really based on any real interaction he's had with Varys. Is that like off base?
No, I think that's fair. But that's kind of my point, is that it's like there's no evidence for it. It's just him being like, when Varys' response is truly nobody loves a eunuch. That really, for me, is like the heart of the matter. That's him getting to the point, which is just, yeah, y'all fucking, none of you trust me because I don't have balls and I'm the whisperer and y'all are just like, don't even see me as a person. And so you assume that I'm poisoning you. Like, sure, of course you think that. That's just the, that's just me.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that line now, that truly no one loves a eunuch. And it's funny because when I read it, I heard it in a way where the actor who played Varys, who I thought was like really, really good in that role, he had a way of delivering a line that would somehow, like sometimes the emotional impact of what he was saying, for me anyway, would feel lost because the line would be delivered in kind of a flippant way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I read that, I felt like he was just being almost like sarcastic. As opposed to feeling like, even though he says it sadly, So I think I missed the weight of that when I was reading it.
I mean, I could also be assigning weight that isn't exactly there, but that's just how it felt to me because Ned is just like basing this on nothing.
Right. So yeah, he tells he tells Ned that the girl, I know, right? Oh, I miss he tells him that Arya has at least escaped Sir Meryn.
Sir Meryn, yeah.
But they don't know where she is. No one's been able to find her. But the Lannisters haven't found her either. Varys hasn't been able to find her, so, it's like good news, bad news. And that Sansa has come to court and pled for your life.
Right.
And then he says, I trust you realize that you are a dead man. And
Ouch.
Then we get to the nitty and the gritty.
Indeed. Yeah, I trust you know that you're a dead man. Oh, she would never kill me.
I love too. He says, Cat holds her brother, and Varys says the wrong brother.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but that really took me out.
And he says it was not wine that killed the king, it was your mercy. Because he asks Ned what fucking possessed him to tell Cersei that he knew.
What were you fucking thinking? Which is the question of the fucking hour. What were you thinking?
You ought to have heeded Littlefinger when he urged you to support Joffrey's secession. How could you know of that? I know that's all need concern you. Cersei is frightened of you, but she has other enemies she fears even more. Her beloved Jaime is fighting the River Lords even now. Lysa Arryn sits in the Eyrie, ringed in stone and steel, and there is no love lost between her and the Queen. In Dorne, the Martells still brood on the murder of Princess Elia and her babes. And now your son marches down the neck with a northern host at his back, which I had forgotten Ned did not know about.
Right.
Oops.
So, Ned is shocked.
Yeah. He says, Robb is only a boy, and Varys is like, yes. Precisely, sir.
And, what does Ned say about Stannis? Oh, yeah, because he's talking about, what Cersei is worried about. And he says the real concern is Robert's brothers, especially Stannis. He is the true heir to the throne. He has, the rightful claim. He is a battlefield or battle commander, and he says he is utterly without mercy.
Yeah.
Which turns out to be true.
You said that like you were trying to find another way to say the word true.
Right? Yeah. So there's that. And he says there is no creature on earth half so terrifying as a truly just man. Which, you know what? I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I don't know if Stannis is actually a just man. I don't think he is. But I don't know book Stannis.
That's true.
But I believe Stannis believes he is. And I think that is where the terror comes from. It's not that there's nothing more terrifying as a truly just man. It's nothing is more terrifying than a man who believes he is truly just, But
good distinction. I like it.
Thank you. So he basically we're back to tell everyone that you take it all back. And Cersei would like to not have to kill you. It would make things easier for her.
Yeah. I mean, just make life he even says here, when Varys is talking to him about, Stannis is going to be a fucking problem because he's going to want to be king. And Ned is like, well, he should be king. Holy shit, Ned, shut up.
Ugh. I would welcome his assent. You are going to be dead. You're not going to welcome shit.
What are you even talking about? Are you high? Have you been fucking listening?
Nope. And then, he gets really indignant. You want me to serve the woman who murdered my king and butchered my men and crippled my son?
Yes.
You don't have nearly as many options as you seem to think that you
do.
The options you thought you had when you were having your little night terrors were that Cat still had Tyrion and that all these armies were coming to save you. And Varys just disabused you of those notions. And still, Guys, I don't know
Preach.
about this guy. And what did he say? This is when fucking he starts talking about how you can't trust Varys, as he's in lead with Littlefinger, and
See, this is what I mean. Just like when the way that Varys, he's just missing all the cues. Like, for me, it's just they're so not in league. I can't believe that you think that. Oh, he's so bad at this. He's just really bad at it.
I love how quickly Ned is on his bullshit, because he says that, even if I did fucking grovel, whatever, the words would be hollow. Which, first of all, nobody gives a fuck if they would be hollow. But then he says, my life, is not so precious to me as that. Like, being all kind of like, I don't care. And Ferris has to be like, what about your daughter's life? Mm-hmm. And, because, like, how did he forget that fast? It's been 30 fucking seconds. Mm-hmm. It's, you guys, I don't know what to do with this character.
Yeah, I feel you. He's just, part of me thinks that the way that he's written here is more for the benefit of the reader, to remind us of, like, what's at stake and why, like, how difficult a decision it might be for him to choose XYZ. But it doesn't feel like, it just feels so short-sighted of him, that it's hard to be cool about it.
It really is. And without the benefit of what's his name, Sean Bean's very expressive face,
right,
to like soften this exchange, where you can kind of see his angst and his fear for his children in his face. Mm-hmm. Just reading these words, you just want to smack him upside the head like he's one of the Three Stooges. You really do.
Yep.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Let's see. So what is after this? I'm trying to find this, because I know that, let's see. You want me to serve the woman. I want you to serve the realm. Tell the queen that you will confess your vile treason. Command your son to lay down his sword. Proclaim Joffrey as the true heir. And surely you did not think I'd forgotten about your sweet innocent, my lord. The queen most certainly has not. And he tries to be like, she's a child. And Varys is like, yeah, so was Rhaenys. And you know what happened to her. Mm-hmm. And, that was like your side that did that too, BT dubs. Mm-hmm. And the High Septon once told me that as we sin, so do we suffer. If that's true, Lord Eddard, tell me, why is it always the innocents who suffer most when you High Lords play your Game of Thrones? Ponder it, if you would, while you wait upon the queen, and spare a thought for this as well. The next visitor who calls on you could bring you bread and cheese and milk of the poppy for your pain, or he could bring you Sansa's head. The choice, my dear Lord Hand, is entirely yours. Mm-hmm. So, again, like, this... Look, I'm gonna get a little trenchant here. This whole, how about you fucking think about what's good for people and the realm at large, instead of your fucking ego and your ideals. It would be super cool if the Democratic Party could do that a little, and just set aside their desire to, like, have these ideals that don't actually benefit anybody in a material way, and just do the thing that helps, that actually helps.
Nope.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I want.
Nope. We took out some very important provisions in this most recent bill, right? Mm-hmm. Because we were trying to reach across the aisle. Yep. And then none of those motherfuckers voted for it. Yep. So what were we doing? The reality is, it was people in our own party, and I use our party very, very loosely.
Indeed.
Right? That didn't want to support that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I really just don't know what else to say. Y'all are smart people to listen to the show. You know.
But then they're going to go and blame progressives for being too radical. If only.
Like, don't we currently have the executive branch and both houses, like the Congress and the House of Reps? Like, this is when you flex.
Yep.
Like, and they're...
Yep.
They're so afraid of losing their jobs in a couple of years in the midterms that they would just rather not do anything.
Yep.
Why are you here then if you don't want to do your fucking job?
Yep.
Why are you here? Go be somewhere else and let somebody else be here.
I'm sorry.
I might have to fuck around and be a third party voter, y'all.
It does grow more tempting every year.
You know, I fucking had a lot of shit to say about third party voters in 2016, and don't get cute because I stand by it.
Yeah, in 2016, that situation.
You know what I'm saying? And even 2020, I stand by that too. We had let something happen in this country that needed to be dealt with.
Yep.
Expeditiously. But yeah, going forward, my politics just simply do not align with this party anymore. They haven't in quite some time, and I just, I don't know what I'm going to do. But it's something I have to think about because this bullshit,
yeah,
it's no bueno.
So sorry for doing that, everybody, but I just had because there's just a parallel here in some ways that feels like I can't just not mention it.
I mean, we could, but then that wouldn't really be us.
That's just not authentic to who
it really
I am.
Isn't. And I mean, we got to give the people a reason to give us a bad review. So,
can you eat authenticity, Natasha? What is it worth to you?
Everything.
All right, so that's the end of the chapter. I do want to talk about just briefly the fact that Varys says that he serves the realm and that he actually wants peace. Do you buy that, or do you think that he's playing another whole play?
Well, it's unfair because, having seen the show, I know that thread goes throughout the show. The idea that Varys is sincere and this idea of wanting to bring a peace and also an opportunity for the small folk to have a chance, right? To not just be. Matter of fact, it's not even they don't seem to be considered at all in this world.
Yeah,
and he seems to be intimately familiar with what it is like to be, one of the common people. The little bit that we know about his history, he talks about, he traveled with a troop of mummers.
Yeah.
And, he wasn't highborn, and he has seen much more of the world, I think, than a lot of the people he works with.
Yeah, probably.
Even Peter Baelish, who definitely considers himself to be a little bit more common than like some of the other houses, but he's still technically highborn.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Varys is the only one up there in these circles that knows how the other half lives is ridiculous as a phrase that is. I apologize. I just
It's
couldn't
fine.
think of
I
another way to
get
say it.
I get it.
So when he talks about what he serves is the realm, I believe him. And he says something earlier too. He tells Ned that he was trying to keep Robert alive.
Yeah.
Which was hard to do.
I swear to God, that must be the most thankless fucking job. That guy wanted to die.
Yeah.
Like,
so,
ugh.
But he knew as long as Robert was king, there was a bit of stability. And that once he was gone, what's coming down the road was going to be inevitable. So, yeah. Yeah, I believe him.
Okay. All right. Well, you fool. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I find Varys to be kind of fascinating. He's one of those characters that when people are asked, like, who's your favorite, I don't feel like he ever comes to the front of anybody's mind. And, I'm sure there are people out there who will say that he is for them. But oftentimes you think of, like, the big throne players naturally, And yet, because of the nature of his work, how much he knows is just so, it outstrips everybody else's so much, their information. And I just find it, like, I want Varys to be on the throne a little bit, but not really, because I know that's not his strength and that's not where he wants to be. Right, but there's also an aspect of, like, yeah, but the fact that he wouldn't want to be there is what makes him good at the job, and, like, somebody who would be worthy of the job, that old chestnut.
Yeah. There's a when he's talking about his time as a mummer, Ned kind of says something like, yeah, I noticed you didn't help me out when I got surrounded. And he was like, why would I do that? I wasn't armed. I'm not wearing any armor.
Yep.
And then later Ned asked him, can you free me from this jail? And Varys is like, yeah, I could, but I'm not gonna.
But will I?
Right? Like, that would come right back to me. Why would I do such a thing? And that is just like, you are blunt. And Varys says, a eunuch has no honor, and a spider does not enjoy the luxury of scruples. And just like, I feel like that is probably true, but also a little bit of shot to Ned and his high horse. Like, just, you don't think about scruples, as being a luxury, but the way Ned is behaving in this scene, where it's like he thinks he can afford to die by his principles because they're that important, and he's willing to sacrifice, himself to do it because that's the most important thing. But Varys is like, there are things more important than my personal honor. Yeah. And that's like, it sounds like I'm saying something shitty about Varys, but actually I mean that in like the highest compliment,
Yeah. No, and this is like part of my deal with people who always try and preach nonviolence. And I used to be one of those people, like, full disclosure. I 100% like thought that was the way to go, and that was an elevated way to approach problems, and that you had to be better than that, whatever that might be. And there is a certain luxury to being able to sit back and be like, well, we shouldn't get violent. Well, yeah, I'm certain that you can say that when you're not the one that's maybe going to die anyway. Like, you can choose whether you want to get violent instead of that being brought to your door without your consent. So, shut up. Just like low key, just shut the fuck up. High key, I mean it. But yeah, that's just, you know, I have like fucking less patience. I don't know if any of y'all have noticed, but I am slightly different than I used to be. And the biggest change is the fact that I can't anymore. I have lost my ability to can. And I mean that in the least like millennial way and the most like Molotov cocktail kind of way. So that's like just...
That's just where we are.
That's just it. I have had it. So, I wanted to say hi to new patrons real quick. This week, we've got Lauren Tyler, Sophia Dearden, Jake Bjornley, B. Kiniki? It's Knke. Kiniki. I keep thinking about that guy from Greece. Isn't his name Kiniki? B. I'm sorry. And Nellie Bohawk. So, welcome to all of you delightful people. Thank you so much for becoming patrons. I hope that you listen to the Mistborn Unspoiled that I'm doing with Miles, which has been extremely fun. And also that you will, you know, become high rollers and maybe come and hang out with me and Rashawn when we talk about Galaxy Quest next Saturday, because that's going to be what our Unsober is about. And I'm stoked. I have never seen it. Rashawn can't remember if she's seen it.
Ages and ages.
So, yeah, that's what our high roller Unsober is going to be. I'm probably going to like get a little stoned for it, and I'm looking forward to that.
That should be fun. Yeah.
So yeah, I am excited over it.
I just want to say hello to patrons. I am on a Facebook break, but I miss you guys, and I will see you guys soon. Soon as the world is perfect, I will be back. So, I mean, like, give it like a week or so, and I should be right back. Soon as all the problems are fixed.
Oh, no. That doesn't feel like it bodes well.
But hello.
But yeah, she'll be back eventually, you know.
I will. I can't stay off that damn app.
She can't avoid us forever. She loves us too much.
I do love you.
Yeah, so, all right. Thank you guys again. Love you. Hope you've been enjoying our coverage of the show. If you haven't, just keep that shit to yourself. And we will see you next week with 2 more chapters. Until then, toodaloo, motherfuckers.
Bye, guys.
Joffrey, Cersei, Walder Frey, Meryn Trant, Tywin Lannister.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.